Welcome back EALD students to yet another video, and today we're going to look at synthesis writing again. Okay, so let's begin. Alright, so what is synthesis writing in WACE? Basically, it is a summary of the 3 readings that you have done in the comprehension section. It is also the most challenging task in the paper, and often students are unable to progress past this task and leave their extended writing section unanswered. Timing and organization are key. What are we looking for in your synthesis? So basically, this is a closer look at your marking key. So you have the first criterion, which is processing. And this is basically your ability to articulate your main points clearly in your own words. As you probably already know, when you write a synthesis, you are expected to paraphrase everything. You're expected to summarize and paraphrase the original text. Criterion 2 is synthesizing, and it's basically your ability to draw connections from the 3 texts that you have read with suitable references. So you have to give in-text citation, and you also have to show the similarities and differences between the texts. Criterion 3 is statement of view and support. Did you include a relevant personal experience? If the question asks for opinions, then you're supposed to give your opinion. If they ask for either an experience or your opinion, you give either or. It's really up to you. And the last criterion is criterion 4, reference to text. And it is basically the ability to make effective reference to all texts. Alright, let's move on. Okay, so points about a synthesis. Basically, you do not need an introduction. You do not need a conclusion. It is important to answer the question. You must do exactly what you are asked. You only need one example of your own knowledge and experience. You do not get marks. You do not get more marks for more. Basically, what we're looking at here is quality over quantity. We always tell our students it is how valid your knowledge or experience is, rather than the amount of knowledge and experience that you throw in there. Remember, the question is testing your ability to read and understand the text, so you must show your understanding by choosing the relevant information only and clearly relating the points from the text together into one main idea for each paragraph. Alright, let's move on. Okay, steps on how to approach a synthesis. You read the question carefully. You use your skimming and scanning techniques. You briefly summarize the relevant ideas from each text as your own notes. Use different color highlighters to help yourself. Sometimes students can also use different colored pens. Or if you don't have any of those fancy stationery, you can just underline the parts that are important to you. The next thing you need to do is you link the ideas together. Be careful to think about how the ideas relate to each other and to the question. This is where you point out similarities and differences between the texts. And the next thing that you need to do is you need to add your own knowledge and experience to one of the points. This can be a separate paragraph entirely, or you can include it in one of the body paragraphs that you have written. And the last thing is write your synthesis. Move from listing to explaining how the ideas between texts are related. So a lot of students will make the mistake of just merely listing the text. They will say, in text 3, this, this, this. In text 4, this, this, this. In text 5, this and this and this. That is considered listing because you did not point out how those texts are related to each other, how they are different to each other, how they are similar to each other. Alright, let's move on. Okay, so your synthesis must contain these. Number 1, in your body paragraph, you need to have a topic sentence with a controlling idea. Number 2, you have to have in-text citation, meaning you must state the text that you are referring to clearly. If you do not state the text, you will not get a lot of marks for synthesis, for synthesizing. The next thing is you need to compare and contrast. You need to point out the similarities and differences. It must be clearly stated. We will look at this further in the examples later on. Number 4, explanation is needed. Okay, whenever there is a need to explain, you must explain. And the last thing is your own experience and knowledge. You need to have that either in a body paragraph, or you can have it separate, all on its own, in a paragraph on its own. All right, let's move on. Okay, so this is an example of a synthesis question. Text 3, 4, and 5 all discuss popular books turned film or TV show adaptations. Give 3 lessons that can be learned from these texts. Give your own opinion or view on the lessons learned from these texts. Provide examples to support your view. You are required to write in your own words. The suggested length is 250 to 350 words. This is a standard look of a synthesis question. Alright, let's move on. Okay, so this is the breakdown of the text. You have text 3, 4, and 5. Text 3 is Game of Thrones. Text 4 is Harry Potter. Text 5 was about Twilight. And I have already listed down the main points that you can find in each text. One of the main points that I could find was character. And you can see that in all 3 texts. You'll see character under Game of Thrones, text 3. You'll see character under Harry Potter, text 4. You'll see character under Twilight, text 5. And then in detail, under that main point, you'll see the other main points that you can find in the text itself. For example, Jon Snow, we know that he's brave and values friendship and he's loyal. The same can be said for Harry Potter. You can't say the same thing about Bella Swan. You also see plot in text 3 and text 4, but there's no plot in text 5 because Twilight has no plot. Right. Then you have setting in all 3 texts, and you have themes in all 3 texts as well. And you'll see that some themes are different, some themes are quite similar to each other. Let's move on. Okay, so this is an example of a body paragraph. I'll play some music. You guys feel free to pause whenever you need, all right? All right. As you can see, we have already changed the color of the font for certain parts and also underlined it. This is to show in-text citation. So when you mention the text name like text 3, text 4, and text 5, that is in-text citation. Using words like similarly, in contrast to this, that shows similarity and differences. So this is what we want to see in a body paragraph. All right, let's move on. So this is an example of a body paragraph whereby only 2 texts were referred to instead of all 3. I'm going to play some music. You guys can go ahead and pause the video if you need to read it further. Okay, all right, so let's move on to the next paragraph. All right, so this is the final body paragraph, and this is what it says. I'm going to play some more music. Feel free to go ahead and read it, and you will see the differences and the similarities pointed out. All right, let's move on. Okay, so your opinion or experience must be valid and it must be in-depth. An example of a weak opinion. I believe that characters can truly inspire us because when a character is relatable, we can learn from them. I learned to be studious from Hermione Granger. And that's it. An example of a good opinion or experience is like this. I think that one can truly learn from characters of novels. For example, I learned to value education from reading Harry Potter and being inspired by Hermione Granger. I loved how Hermione knew every spell intimately, and she could answer questions without any issues. She always got wonderful grades, and she was truly inspiring to me. I wanted to be as smart and hardworking as Hermione. I studied hard for all my exams so that I too could receive good grades. Now, that is more valid and more in depth when it comes to an experience or an opinion, and that is what we look for when it comes to a synthesis experience or opinion. All right, and that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching.